Something disturbing happening under my penthouse. I have lived in London for most of my life, and after working hard, me and my beautiful wife bought a penthouse in the Canary Wharf. This seemed like an amazing area to live apart from how expensive it is. Anyway, we live on the lowest floor of the building as it was much cheaper, and below us is an area for maintenance, a basement of sorts. We always heard loud churning sounds coming from it, every day. I asked the owners of the building what it was, and they claimed it was pipes, or workers down there. On the evening of our anniversary 2 days ago, kissing on our balcony, we heard a loud belch from above us followed by groaning. Thinking it was some yuppie who had been drinking all day, we thought nothing of it and presumed our moment. Then all of a sudden something big fell down onto our glass table, shattering it into pieces. My wife pulled away from me and screamed as there was a girl, pretty, mid-20s, East Asian, lying there groaning with cuts and scrapes all down her thighs and legs. She was wearing a short skirt and a white shirt, presumably an office worker. She got up, belched again, then ambled almost zombie-like towards our door. Pointing and groaning at the door, I ambitiously opened the door to let her leave. As she was walking away, a heel came off, and she didn't even acknowledge it. My wife made me follow the woman to make sure she got out the building safely, as we figured once she left it wasn't our problem anymore. Getting to the lift, I helped her in as she was muttering something, and I pressed the button for the ground floor. As we got out walking to the door, things seemed to be better, and she was walking more normally until we came up to the maintenance room, when she started shouting and screaming. She took of running hard into a table and continued out the door. We never heard anything of her since. Later that evening, as we watched TV, loud sounds continued to emanate from the maintenance room. Sick of the noise and intrigued by the woman's paranoia, I decided to go into it to see what was so loud and give them a piece of my mind. Getting down there, I pushed the door, which opened with ease surprisingly. I was greeted with metal mesh fence to my sides, and a staircase leading down into the area below. Down the staircase was a big open space, with 2 furnaces on and 3 elevator shafts parallel to them. In the middle between the furnaces was a big desk, with vials of metals and chemicals. Upon closer inspection, I could see a vial labeled Tantalum Zombie Formula, with a metal and some sort of ooze in it. Suddenly I heard loud footsteps behind me. Turning round rapidly, I saw a tall man, with a goatee, carrying a metal rod in his hand, and a drum sort of instrument. Seeing me, he began to laugh and said, "I see you came to find out about the banging." I replied that I had and asked him why he was doing this. He replied, "To lure in more subjects." Thinking he was crazy, I began to walk towards the exit and report this man to the office. He then stopped me and said, "Look up. This world has its constellations." Above me was around 10 women and a few men in cages unconscious. I asked him what he was doing, and how did he get away with nobody knowing, and he replied, "I lure people down here with the noise, and inject my creation into them to make them into an undead state, and sell them to elite rich people for a fortune. In fact, the reason I get away with doing this laborious task in this vile room is because the owners of the building are given these creations as gifts." I replied that he was sick, and he laughed again. Before he could speak again, I dashed towards him, and with a firm right hook knocked him down onto the floor. As I ran out to the exit of the building, he took one last glimpse at me, and I slammed the door shut. As it stands, I am too afraid to call the police because I don't know what will happen to me or my beloved wife. I don't know if I will ever see him again, but after telling my wife the story, we have decided to move away as soon as possible to her dad's house.